Welcome back to Bat Fridays here, one comic book a day, where I'm covering the second story in Batman issue 15, The Boy Who Wanted to Be Robin. A story I quite like, which stands out at this time, though I do have some qualms with how they decided to end it, and specifically that resolution they went with. I don't quite like what it has to say. The story is actually about the anti-Batman and Robin, which is just a premise I like to begin with. But where it really succeeds is in my usual complaint with a lot of these Golden Age comics with structure, where it's just sort of the hero being thrown into set piece after set piece that are barely held together. That leaves the story feeling empty, and my complaint, especially in the Superman comics, is if there is a threat or an antagonist, spend a little time setting up that antagonist in Superman comics, takes them down, we can enjoy it, even if he's not much of a threat to Superman. This can remain true for Batman. It's not as big of a problem with Batman, because arguably anybody with a gun could possibly be a threat, though Batman's skills will increase later. Here, the threat is Knuckles Congers. The comic opens how most Golden Age Batman comics have opened so far, which is Batman and Robin just randomly beating up some crooks in some alley or warehouse. But there is a strange man watching them, well, stranger watching them, and he stands out right away because in these 2 to 3 panels where we first see him, he's given more detail than any of the other characters are given when they're drawn. And Knuckles doesn't look that way later on. They don't give him that much detail, but it does have him stand out. It's quite striking. So you're very interested in who this person is, and then a little disappointed that he's just some mobster with a generic name that you would barely remember after reading this comic. Knuckles has a history of boxing and athletics and acrobatics, so he has basically a lot of the training that Batman has, at least at this time, and believes he can get himself in Batman fighting shape. But he doesn't believe any of his lackeys can be in help. But maybe he should have his own Robin. Okay, this is already kind of at an issue, like in the way Batman Begins makes the argument of escalation. I guess Dark Knight is about escalation. Here, Batman sort of escalates things with making children criminals or a pawn in his war on crime if the criminals now think it's useful to use children instead of lackeys. So he finds this kid, shoeshine boy named Bobby, who has red hair and freckles, and kind of reminds me of what, like, the second Robin, Jason Todd, looked like pre-Crisis, who was a track champion before his parents died and he became an orphan. And Knuckles tricks him into being his own sort of Robin, and the comic then spends quite a bit of time, almost like half the comic, maybe even more than half of the comic, with them training and committing crimes, with Knuckles lying to him, making him believe that they're actually stopping criminals and getting back what they stole, but the cops won't believe them. And even when they finally come up against Batman and Robin, he lies to say that they're not really Batman and Robin. Batman's on the West Coast for some reason, and this is like a lying mobster, and as he puts it, a dwarf as Robin. But they do really impressive things, and they do seem like they are, in fact, equals to Batman and Robin. They just don't have a lot of the gadgets, but they do have some gadgets, like rope, and they have zip lines, and there's a mention of sort of like a hook reel. So he has been spending the money they've been stealing on gadgets, or at least items to improve their criminal bouts. And Knuckles wins because he uses Batman's weakness of hitting him in the back of the head, constantly works with Golden Age Batman, and Robin's weakness, being shot. Luckily, it seems to just be a graze instead of actually murdering them, but this is when Bobby finally realizes that Knuckles is full of crap. And Knuckles has already been kind of violent to him because he's been asking a lot of questions, and he turns on Knuckles and beats the crap out of Knuckles. Honestly, Knuckles really should have found a kid who hated Batman and Robin, because this backfired on him tremendously. Now, with Batman free, it becomes a fight between him and Batman, even though Bobby seemed to have this pretty well at hand, leading to a fight on a ledge where Batman takes out Knuckles. And Bobby doesn't go to jail for the crimes he committed. Instead, because he wanted to have a uniform and he loved training and wanted to go back to school, Bruce Wayne, or possibly the government, it's not 100% clear, send him to military school, where he gets a uniform and will be trained to be a killer. Military school is usually a punishment, but also it feels weird. And there's always this argument with Robin that Robin is basically built to be Batman's army, that we literally took a character who has been made sort of a Robin and made him a member of the army. Like, he's going to put those skills into use, probably in Vietnam. And there's something kind of horrifying about that. And that he only really, as an orphan, he only really gets the opportunities when they find he can be useful to, say, the government. Don't like that ending. A lot of it going up to it, especially the building of an anti-Batman or Robin, is very entertaining, and actually a lot of the throwaway action feels more important and less just there to have action. So as a story, I really recommend The Boy Who Wanted to Be Robin. I really wish they called this the anti-Batman Robin. So that is it from Batman 15, The Boy Who Wanted to Be Robin. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Mondays and Thursdays I cover a Superman story in either Action Comics or Superman. And please join me next time, same Bat Day, same comic book channel. Have a great day.